Good evening and welcome to the 557th episode of Travel Itch Radio. I'm Dan Schlossberg along with Roger Noriega, and we are in the 13th season of Travel Itch Radio, the show that lets you enjoy the pleasures of travel from the comfort of your armchair.
Every week at this time, we talk to people representing destinations, hotels, airlines, railroads, car rental companies, and others in the world of travel and hospitality, from authors and bloggers to broadcasters and publicists. If it's got anything to do with travel, it's got everything to do with Travel Itch Radio.
Our guest today is Stacy Brown, president of Visit Shreveport Bossier, and that's in Louisiana. Welcome, Stacy, to the video version of Travel Itch Radio.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me join you today.
Okay. Please tell visitors where you're located. Is it correct to say north of New Orleans and northeast of Houston?
That would be, but I think what most people will have a better frame of mind for is Dallas. So Dallas is actually due east of us on Interstate 20, about 3 hours. Maybe a little more, a little bit less, depending on traffic, but about 3 hours due east on I-20.
Well, because you're blessed with a benign climate, does that make your tourism season last longer?
It does. We are really a year-round destination because of our weather. So this is a great place for golfers. Absolutely love it because they can play all year long. It does get a little warm in the summer, but we have great opportunities for you to really enjoy a lot of indoor things as well as outdoors.
What are the main can't-miss attractions in Shreveport Bossier?
You know, we've got something for just about everyone in your family. So whether you want to do something with the kids like Cyport Discovery Center, the Shreveport Aquarium, or visit a gator and see Gator and Friends, we've got a lot of great family attractions. You may even want to go out to Morel Dairy, where you can actually see them milk a cow, maybe even do a little bit of that yourself, and get some fresh made milk straight from the cow, which is a great opportunity for families as well. But we've got more than 24 museums. We've got casinos, live horse racing going on right now at Louisiana Downs. And so it's a great opportunity for families and others to come and enjoy all that Shreveport Bossier and the community has to offer.
Okay, people want to know, what is Bossier and why is it always used in conjunction with Shreveport?
Well, you know what? Shreveport and Bossier City are what we consider to be sister cities. So they're right across the river from one another. So we're joined by the river. And it's where two interstates connect. So it's very easy to navigate and get into town and around town very quickly. In fact, pretty much anything you want to get to, you can get to in about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on where you are.
And Elvis fans should know that he did his one and only commercial at Blade Studios. Please tell us what and where that is and whether out-of-towners can visit.
So Blade Studios is not in existence anymore, but there are great opportunities to see other Elvis happenings and sightings. So behind you, in fact, is one of the statues of Elvis in front of the Municipal Auditorium that we're going to talk about a little bit more later. But he did love Southern Made Donuts. So that was what his commercial was for, Southern Made Donuts.
We're talking Shreveport Bossier with Stacy Brown.
Caddo Lake has many alleged Bigfoot sightings, including a Travel Channel documentary, Bigfoot. I always thought Bigfoot was a creature of the Pacific Northwest, and being from California, that's what I thought. Not to mention somebody's overactive imagination. But speaking of creatures, R.W. Norton Art Foundation, based in Shreveport, is home to John James Audubon's The Birds of America. What is that like?
So looking at Bigfoot, you know, he's a great guy and you can probably catch him around our community. But even better than that, if you go out to Caddo Lake near Mooringsport, Louisiana, you just might see Cypress Cindy. And she is a Loch Ness type monster that you can sometimes catch a glimpse of out there in Caddo Lake. So another great opportunities for those looking for something unusual. But as you mentioned, the R.W. Norton Art Gallery is phenomenal. So a huge collection of John James Audubon's rare art is very great to see. They also have Russell and Remington, and whether you're wanting to see a doll collection of antique dolls or gun collection, or they have a lot of different things that travel as well. So they have phenomenal exhibits. And what's even better, it's free. And it's surrounded by 40 acres of gardens with trails that you can go through, see the azaleas when they're in full bloom in the spring. And it's just a great outing for the whole family.
Shreveport has one of the largest art murals in the country. The once in a millennium moon mega mural covers the site of the AT&T building. What's the story behind that?
Well, it is enormous. And it's what's even better is the community really participated in this. It was done by an artist named Meg Saligman. And so they collaborated to create the enormous mural. It features 18 models, all of everyday Shreveport residents. It's a vibrant depiction of the cycle of life, with an infant at its center being showered with water from containers carried by multi-ethnic cross-section of the city's residents. So watching over the scene from the left is a Native American woman representing the original Louisianians. She is joined by other figures, one looking at family photographs, another searching the sky for that millennium moon. And it is rich with meaningful icons that really include the city's flower, rose, flowing water, referencing the city's history as a port, and a skillet that's a tribute to the region's passion for food. So it really is something that depicts our community. And this was not something, like I said, that the artist did by herself. So it's a 30,000 square foot painting that the community was a center of. So there were 50,000 brush strokes, wow. 1,500 gallons of paint, 2,500 paint cloths. So you painted the cloths and then they were applied to the building. There were 4,000 community collaborators and 165 public events that took to create this mural, and it was completed in 2001.
Wow. That's quite a bit. Switching gears a bit, what is the Louisiana Hayride and what is its connection to Shreveport?
So Louisiana Hayride was a radio show and later a television show of country music. And it was broadcast from the building right behind Dan. So that was the Municipal Auditorium. And that is where the show began from 1948 and ran until 1960. And it helped launch the careers of some of the biggest names in American country and Western music, but also of rock. So Elvis Presley got his start on the stage of the Louisiana Hayride, and he appeared there 52 different times between October the 16th of 1954 and December the 15th of 1956. So that was over a 2-year period. A number of his recordings were done on the Louisiana Hayride and have been released on vinyl and CD. And so it's great to have him be a part of our history. The statue that is right next to Elvis there in front of the Municipal Auditorium is James Burton. James Burton grew up in Shreveport, and he discovered a 53 Fender Telecaster when he was only 14 years old and became an incredible musician. He wrote the music for the famous record Susie Q, became a staff musician on the Louisiana Hayride, and then joined Bob Luman's band, journeying to Los Angeles to perform in the Carnival Rock. He met Ricky Nelson and joined him on the Ozzie and Harriet shows. Wow. James's unique guitar style not only placed him in the Hollywood Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Country Music Universe, but he was also recently inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. So he is just phenomenal. And he was Elvis's band leader until Elvis's passing in 1977.
Would you tell us about the aforementioned Municipal Auditorium, which we hear is on the National Register of Historic Places? And I believe, as you just mentioned, Elvis, as well as maybe Hank Williams?
Yes,
Starts there.
absolutely. You would not believe the number of stars who started right here on the Louisiana Hayride. The Municipal Auditorium is located just west of downtown, and in it lies one of the most treasured buildings in our community. So it was built in the 1920s. It's noted for its intricate brickwork and lavish interior. It was coined the finest example of Art Deco construction in the state of Louisiana. It's just phenomenal, and they've done a great job of keeping up that and maintaining the beautiful fixtures inside. And really, it is still a working venue today, and is really favored by a lot of performers because they want to stand where Elvis stood and where others got their start on the Louisiana Hayride. So it was actually dedicated to the soldiers of the Great World War, and it says that on the outside. Of course, that was World War One, and the intention was the Great World War would be the only one. But as we know, we continued on and had another war after that. But it played as a host to the military by serving as a barracks for the troops and housing early aircraft warning system. It hosted cotillions and wrestling matches and all kinds of things there at the Municipal. And as I mentioned, continues to be a great venue today.
I have a Shriners Auditorium out over here in LA, but I understand there's a Shriners Hospital founded more than 100 years ago there.
That's right. So Shriners, the members of the Shriners fraternity wanted to start a children's hospital. Wow. And they were actually looking at starting it somewhere else, but they wanted to do more than one. And Shreveport really got on the ball and said, we're going to do fundraising. We're going to do whatever it takes, get the land, get it going. And so we were the first Shriners Hospital. It was in May of 2022 that the cornerstone was laid for the hospital. And then it was officially unveiled. In fact, they had their first patient on September the 16th of 1922 at a downtown Shreveport physician's office while the original building was still under construction. So it was completed in April of 1923. So Shriners has a tremendous history here that continues, their legacy continues on.
Wow, it's impressive. Didn't know that.
Their 100th anniversary.
Oh, yes.
In fact, Shreveport Bossier participated with the state of Louisiana in the Rose Parade, both in 2024 and 23. So in 2023, we had a former patient of Shriners Hospital as our designee representing our community on the float since it was their 100th anniversary.
Wow, that is cool. That's impressive. Now, again, switching gears a little bit, the whole country knows the name Johnnie Cochran, but may not know he's a Shreveport native. What other celebrities hail from Shreveport?
So we have way too many to tell you all of them, but just to give you a few, and we've got every genre you can imagine. So from the music side, of course, Kix Brooks, and you mentioned Hank Williams earlier. Hank Williams Jr. was born here. Current day, Jordan Davis, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, one from back then, Estelle Brown. She was Elvis's backup singer. She still lives here and still does performances every now and then. She's phenomenal. When you're looking at the sports side, tremendous great. Some of the past, Terry Bradshaw, Robert Parrish, Joe Ferguson, some of the more current ones, David Toms, Hal Sutton on the golf side. And who hasn't heard of the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott?
Oh, yeah.
Tre'Davious White, Terrence Marshall, also current players. Looking at the WNBA, Emily Ward and Evelyn or Atlanta Beard were both current WNBA players, and Ellen Ashford, track and field. And anytime you turn into television, and he's been on CBS and ESPN and other places, everybody knows Tim Brando. So Tim still lives here and works out of Shreveport, Bossier. In fact, I think I see him more in airports than I do here in town.
That's cool. Very quickly, I want to acknowledge the audience. Thank you. We're going to get to your questions on the second time around in a few minutes. But right now, we are talking Shreveport Bossier with Stacy Brown.
So one thing I meant to mention, if I could go back to famous people really quick. Some of you may not know the name, but you have seen his handiwork. William Joyce is an illustrator and author. And he wrote a number of books, has also done a number of movies, including Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, wow.
But if you've watched Toy Story, Roly Poly Oly, a number of shows, you have seen his artwork come to life. He is from Shreveport, went off to LA and made it big and said, you know what, Disney and Pixar and others can come see me at home because I have a much better quality of life there for me and my family. And he is here and loves Shreveport Bossier and is very committed to our community.
It's good to know.
And you're watching Travel Itch Radio, now in our 13th season with Dan Schlossberg and Roger Noriega. Check us out on iTunes, LinkedIn, Instagram, or the Travel Itch Radio Facebook page, among other places. Shreveport history, Stacy, dates back more than 200 years, with the town first settled in 1803, first called Shrevetown. The name wasn't changed for more than 30 years. But why Shreveport if you're not a coastal community?
Well, as we mentioned, there is a river that runs between the cities of Shreveport and Bossier, and we do have a major port of Caddo Bossier that is here current day. So we started, as you mentioned, we were founded in 1836 by the Shrevetown Company, a corporation that was established to develop a town at the juncture of the newly navigable Red River, because we had a 180-mile log jam prior to that. So they opened up the river, made it navigable again, so that we could be that port city. With the port, that is still an active port, has over 4,000 acres. We are really a major hub for manufacturing, things that are made there at the port and shipped out. You can get all the way to the Gulf of Mexico from here in Shreveport, Bossier.
Wow.
Since we're talking history, how did the war between the states affect Shreveport? Since Louisiana was obviously part of the Confederacy, were there any battles there, and are there any artifacts in area museums?
So Shreveport has a unique Civil War story. So after Union General Nathan Banks was captured in Port Hudson in May of 1863, Louisiana state capital was officially moved to Shreveport, where it remained until the end of the war. The 43,000 Confederate soldiers in Shreveport were the last major Confederate force to surrender in June of 1865. So many artifacts can be seen at the Louisiana State Exhibit Museum, which has some larger than life murals and kind of depict dioramas of the area and different things throughout the community. But they have a lot of handwritten documents from the U.S. Treasury agents sent between Marshall and Shreveport in 1865 regarding the Union seizure and the transportation of Confederate stores of cotton in Marshall. So there were no official battles in Shreveport. They were all to the east or west of us. And one reason of that could be that along the shoreline, we had some kind of hills overlooking the shore of the river. And they placed some actually fake cannons up there to make it look like we were a well-fortified community. And actually, we really weren't.
It must have worked.
Okay. We'd like to know about can't miss places to dine and what local recipes visitors should try.
Oh my gosh. So you're going to make me so hungry because in Louisiana, we plan our day by meal. So, at breakfast, you talk about lunch, and at lunch, you talk about dinner, and what are we going to eat? Because there are so many great restaurants of every type in our community. But of course, what a lot of people are looking for is more kind of some of the Cajun and Louisiana flair that we have in our community. So some of those, we've got some really long-standing restaurants with some really interesting history. And one of those is a place called Orlando's. So it's now in its fourth generation. And as this restaurant passes from one family member to another, they rename the restaurant in honor of the person who's just passed away. So it started in 1921 as Freeman and Harris Cafe. Then it passed on and became Pete Harris Cafe. Then it became Brothers Seafood, and now it's Orlando's, and it is out on Cross Lake. Hasn't always been in the same location, but same family recipes passing down, and then some changes always thrown in. And one of the things they are really known for is their stuffed shrimp. And there's the belief that their family actually created that delicacy. And so that's a great one. Another one is Ernest Orleans. So they started the Ernest Orleans Supper Club in 1947. And then after he passed it on to his son, went out for a little while, and then Ernest Palmisano took it over, and it is now Ernest Orleans. It's kind of up on the hill overlooking downtown Shreveport. And they are really known for their marinated crab claws and some great flaming gumbo and some flaming cocktails too. So you can really have a great time at Ernest. Herbie K's is the home of the Muffy. So it's a special muffaletta that they created, and they've been there since 1936. I'm sorry, Herbie K's is the Shrimp Buster, and they've been there since 1936. Fertitta's is the Muffy, and they've been there since 1927. So lots of great history. But then as you move into a more current day, modern, newer restaurants, we've got the East Bank District that features a long-time Italian restaurant called L'Italiano's. And then some newer favorites, Bojack's, Flying Heart Brewing and Pizza, Seventh Tap that has a fabulous smash burger, Frozen Piro, Sugar Show, and Streetcar Snowballs. So you can actually just kind of walk up and down the street and get all types of not only food and drink, but great fun. And why not have a drink and then throw an axe, right?
Okay. What about local nightlife?
Again, we have a great variety. So we've got a couple of different axe throwing places. We have a huge food truck scene. And then, of course, behind the restaurants that I was just talking about, there's something called Hurricane Alley there in the East Bank District. And it's where all those restaurants and clubs in front of it have gotten together on a great outdoor venue that has a stage. They do live music. They also have cornhole for the kids, and they've got some great little stations where you can warm up by the fire if it's cold. And so just a great gathering place for people overall. If you're looking for some other entertainment, there's also Sweet Caroline's. It's a dueling piano bar. Downtown Shreveport, there's a plethora of places, Noble Savage, Fatty Arbuckle's, the Phoenix, the Sandbar, Ernie's Bar, Hayes on Texas. So it just depends on what kind of vibe you're looking for and what type of music. And we've got something for you.
Can you recommend good places to stay that won't sink the budget?
One of the great things about our community is we have not only the great brand names you're looking for, Hilton and like Marriott, all those big brand names. We have all of those, and there are different levels of hotels. But we also have a lot of great local places. So a great boutique hotel is called Remington Suites. A lot of the stars stay there. Presidents have stayed there. And each suite is unique and something different. We have some great bed and breakfasts, and of course, some individual homes that are available on things like Airbnb and Vrbo. So lots of great different types of accommodations are available.
A bunch of Shreveport mayors. Roger, you want to take that one?
Yes, as a matter of fact. It's sticking with the haunting theme. A bunch of Shreveport mayors are buried in Oakland Cemetery, which locals say is haunted. Is that true or false?
Well, I think you need to come find out for yourself. I mean, the earliest tombstone in there dates back to 1842. So that's the final resting place of a number of mayors, of Civil War soldiers. And there's even a mass grave for about 800 yellow fever epidemic people. So just a great variety. It's actually a beautiful cemetery. So if you get the opportunity, I really suggest that you check it out.
Who is Madam Annie McCune, and why is she famous in Shreveport lore?
So Annie was also buried in Oakland Cemetery, and that was near what we call the red light district. So the red light district was one of only 2 in the state of Louisiana where prostitution was legal. So it was a very special area, and she was the madam of that red light district. But she was very into making sure she was an advocate for women who'd been cast out. So she would take people in, and they really would bring musicians in and allow them to play. Hetty Leadbelly Ledbetter, who was the king of the 12-string guitar, would come and perform and play at her place, like starting from when he was like 14 years old. So she was really kind of a very famous person here in Shreveport.
Well, it's 88 degrees here, so my next question is, when I say the words hot, 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 are we talking about Louisiana hot sauce or 318 Southern made donuts?
Well, one of my favorites is Southern made donuts, I have to admit. And when you eat them hot, fresh, which they're made several times a day here, they just melt in your mouth. And it's so sweet. They are fabulous. But we're also known for a lot of our spicy cuisine that we have available in our community. So if you like it hot, you're going to love it here.
Excellent. You're an expert on scenic byways as well. Would you please tell us about them, both locally in your area of Louisiana and nationally?
A lot of people don't know what a scenic byway is. And so scenic byways have one of 6 intrinsic qualities. So it may be beauty, but it may not be. It might be historical. It might be outdoor adventure. It might be several different things that really give you the culture of the community. So byways are important in that they get people off the traditional beaten path out into mainly our rural areas to get to find hidden gems. We have the Boomer Bust National Scenic Byway. So scenic byways can be designated at the state level. Then you can apply for, every so often, they open those designations up and you can apply to become a National Scenic Byway, or the next level up is an All-America Trail. Those just help you get more recognition and let people know that you're serious about your byway and making sure that people enjoy themselves and have a great time on your byway. So it's really a great place to get out and enjoy. We really, especially during the pandemic, saw a lot of people discovering our byway from all over the world. Some of the great things you can see along the Boomer Bust Byway, it's a great agricultural area in Caddo Parish, where you can see a lot of the crops grown there. You can see the oil and gas industry, lots of fabulous little towns along the way, beautiful architecture, fabulous restaurants. So one of my favorites is in Gillum, Louisiana, the Main Street Restaurant. And so that is great home cooking. It's in a cute little town. And they have a couple of festivals a year. So they do the Sunflower Festival, where the farmers plant literally thousands and thousands of sunflowers that you can just go out and pick. They also do a Heritage and Harvest Tour during the fall, where you can learn more about the cotton and the cotton gin and see the way of life down there. But at the Main Street restaurant, if you want the chocolate pie, you better order it ahead of time and reserve it, because it gets sold out all the time.
Speaking of buying stuff, we'd also like to hear about the Pierre Bossier Mall.
And you were trying to make us sound really nice, but it's the Pierre Bossier Mall. So
Bossier, yeah.
you did really well, though. So Pierre Bossier Mall is one of our malls. We do have a couple of others, Mall St. Vincent. We've got some other great shopping areas. But there at Pierre Bossier Mall, now you're going to get me saying it.
Sorry.
There's a really cool place by a guy named Drew Brees. You may recognize the former quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He started a place called Surge, and it's a family-focused game center for people of all ages. So a great time for the whole family. They have a kind of a mixture of local and regional stores. But there's another thing that happens there. The Bossier City Farmers Market is weekends spring through fall. So April through November. And then a couple of times a year, they do a night market. And that's there at the Pierre Bossier Mall as well. There's a couple of other there's Mall St. Vincent. There's also great shops on Line Avenue, a lot of great local boutiques. One of my favorites is Enchanted Garden. And that's a great place to go for gifts, lots of Shreveport Bossier items. There's also one of the owners creates unique, one-of-a-kind Mardi Gras masks that are just phenomenal. So Line Avenue, Uri Drive, and some other North Bossier shopping are some great opportunities to get your retail shopping in.
Excellent, Stacy. I appreciate it. We have 2 questions in the chat room. I don't know if let's see. Good afternoon. Would you please tell how the American Rose Center was created?
So the American Rose Center is a beautiful facility, and it was actually one of those things where the American Rose Society wanted to have a test garden and wanted to have it somewhere in the United States. The people of Shreveport got together and raised the money, and someone donated the land. And so they created the Gardens of the American Rose Center. And it is the home of the International Registrar of Roses.
Oh, wow.
There are beautiful gardens that you can come and tour. You can get married. They have special events. And it is just phenomenal. So definitely someplace you want to check out. In fact, they're having their 50th anniversary, if I remember correctly.
Excellent. And I should have asked this one a while ago, but in NOLA, I understand it's known for its haunted places, but I've been told that Shreveport Bossier did I get that right this time?
Bossier.
Bossier. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. Shreveport Bossier has her own famous hauntings. Is there a way to visit them all and learn about their history?
So we do. We have been featured a number of times on some different ghost story type shows. And one of the places is the one behind Dan, the Municipal Auditorium. We actually have a former staff member who used to work in that building, and she has told us quite a few things that have happened to her in that facility. So that's definitely one of them. We have a number of places, and we do have a couple of people in town that do actually kind of haunted Shreveport tours. So we do have some great opportunities for you there as well to learn more about that history.
Excellent. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Shreveport Bossier with Stacy Brown.
Stacy, is there anything we haven't asked that you would like to add?
So, obviously when we're in Louisiana, we can't not talk about Mardi Gras. So Mardi Gras is really special throughout Louisiana. And ours is a little bit different. It's very family friendly. We do several different parades. The 2 main parades are on the Saturday nights prior to Fat Tuesday. But there are also several other parades. One of those is on a Sunday, and it's called the Crew of Highland Parade. And so that's a neighborhood parade that has grown. And so you could catch anything from a hot dog to a moon pie to, you just never know what might be thrown at one of those parades. So it's a great time to bring the whole family and really get to know a little bit more about our culture here in Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana. So that's a great one, but we have a festival for everything, I think. So there's Mudbug Madness. Of course, we have to celebrate our restaurants with 318 Restaurant Week. The Sunflower Trail and Festival. The Red River Balloon Rally is actually occurring this weekend. The Red River Revel is in the fall, which is a great arts festival. Prize Fest is a series of prize festivals everywhere from film to music to food to fashion, different prize offerings. And then, of course, the Holiday Trail of Lights during Christmas is another great time. We have great offerings for girlfriend getaways or just adult giveaways too, if you're wanting to get together with your friends. We've got 4 breweries, great restaurants, lots of live music venues, the Sweet Caroline's Piano Bar, and you can really hit up the East Bank District. Lots of different group activities are another option where you can do everything from glass blowing to making pottery to designing your own T-shirts. So lots of opportunities to have fun with your friends.
How do Travel Itch Radio viewers learn more about Shreveport Bossier?
Absolutely. We love to have you come. And one of the best ways is www.visitshreveportbossier.org to find out more about what's happening.
Okay, our guest tonight on Travel Itch Radio has been Stacy Brown, the president of Visit Shreveport Bossier. Thank you so much for joining us on Travel Itch Radio.
Thank you.
And this being the 50th anniversary of the home run that broke Babe Ruth's record for Hank Aaron, and the All-Star game right around the corner, which is next Tuesday, and a 4-day break in the baseball schedule, that's a great time to catch up on baseball books, including mine. My new biography, Home Run King, The Remarkable Record of Hank Aaron. Roger, your check is in the mail. Roger is holding up the book. It features a foreword by Dusty Baker. It's a 265-page hardcover. It explores Aaron's contributions as a home run hitter on and off the field, as an athlete, and as an advocate for civil rights. That's Home Run King, The Remarkable Record of Hank Aaron. Get it today on Amazon.com or come to my signings in Cooperstown, July 20th. I'll be in front of Willis Bunny Books from 11 to 1. That's on Saturday, July 20th. That's it for this edition of Travel Itch Radio. Next week, same time, same place, same writer, Roger and I will talk about great American ballparks. Now, this is Dan Schlossberg saying thank you for your time this time. Until next time, good night and stay safe.
Thank you.
There we go.